Yo, it's the Lisper Podcast, and once again, it's your host, the Lisper. Now, this is an impromptu episode. Usually, I'm doing start 5 on Sundays, but it's Mother's Day, and they don't want to do that. But they got mother stuff going on, or cooking. Well, I don't know. I'm not in the men's business like that. I just know that they couldn't perform today, so I'm here to give you another episode of the Lisper Podcast. And because it's impromptu, I ain't prepared shit. I ain't prepared shit. Now I am gonna have an episode about my mom, but that's because I did an episode about my dad. It's not a Mother's Day thing because you don't celebrate Mother's Day. But it's an episode about my mom because I did an episode about my dad. And I thought, y'all know about my dad. Maybe y'all need to know about my mom and him. But I don't want to do it on Mother's Day because I don't want people to be like, oh, that was a Mother's Day thing. Like my mama ever gonna listen to it. My mama don't listen to my podcast at all. So she would never listen to it. So it would never be like a Mother's Day thing. And I ain't want y'all to think this. So I'm not going to do that one today. So now I'm going to talk about something. Mom, no, that's right. Today's episode is called Stripping Ain't Easy. And it's a play on Pimpin' Ain't Easy. Remember that? Pimpin' Ain't Easy. Y'all remember that? Yeah. So I'm doing a song. Not a song. Oh, I could do a song. Y'all know I could do songs. I could do a song called Stripping Ain't Easy, but that's a different thing. Today, I'm going to do a podcast episode called Stripping Ain't Easy. And it came up because I was at work. And my apprentice, Ricky Stanicki, his name ain't Ricky Stanicki, his name is Ricky, but my apprentice, he said he would never date a stripper because he could never bring a stripper home to his mom and them. He said he can never bring a stripper home to his mom and them, dad and them, cousin and them, aunt and uncle and them. And I was trying to tell him that strippers are respectable women. It's a respectable profession, but he wasn't trying to hear it. And then I started talking about and started thinking about all of my times and all of my dealings with strippers. And I was like, man, some of them was wonderful people. All of them wasn't blowing and hoeing. You know what I mean? All of them wasn't blowing and hoeing. Now you do got the hoes, but you got the hoes in every profession. You got hoe nurses, you got hoe teachers, you got hoe everything. All strippers do not suck dick. All women don't even suck dick. You see, that's why he need to mind his business. He over there jumping into my shit. And he need to mind his business. He got on the podcast one time. He got sunned, and now he never returned because you know what I mean. He don't like losing. He don't like losing. Okay, he don't like losing. So now he don't want y'all to see his face no more. So he talks behind the camera because he don't want to embarrass himself. You know what I mean? But it's cool. It's cool. You've never won. You've never won a dispute with me. Okay, that's why I'm the undefeated shit talking champion of the world. And like I said, you're always welcome to get on this side of the camera whenever you're ready. Again, the last time you got destroyed, you was embarrassed. Yes, embarrassed. It was wild. It was like a sweep. You look like the Lakers versus the Nuggets, man. That's your record against me right now. It's the Lakers Nuggets. I'm like 11-0. All right, man. Anyway, he don't know nothing about no strippers. He wasn't with me when we was running them stripper streets. But first of all, let me start by saying this, right? I was totally, unequivocally, 100% in my soul, my mind, my body, my spirit against strippers. Oh, wait. I didn't even tell y'all the co-host is absent today because it was Sunday, and the co-host doesn't really make that many appearances because I was supposed to be on the start five, like I said, and the co-host don't go in there because they don't. I don't. He doesn't appear on the start five too often. He comes in and gives some contributions every once in a while, but most of the time for the start five, because it's Sunday, it's the Lord's Day, and because those guys, um, we have to. It's five of us, and we have to feed off each other, and we have to talk, and we have to have conversations, and sometimes the co-host gets inside of my body, my mind, my soul, my spirit, and then I would not give the others an opportunity to talk. That's why the co-host is mostly only around when I do my show. So the co-host is off today, and that's fine. Freddie's here, Macho Man's here, my Decepticon security team, they all here, they all over there. But the co-host is not participating today. Now, back to the story. So, growing up, I was equivocally, undeniably against strippers. I hated the whole concept of strippers because I hated the whole concept of hoes. I hated the whole concept of hoes. I hated the whole concept of women being sexually free. I hated all of that. I hated all of that because I was growing up. I had my mom and I had my sisters, and we was Jehovah's Witnesses. So sex was nasty, forbidden, masturbation was all that shit was out. Okay, all that shit was out. You're not supposed to have sex before marriage. You're not supposed to masturbate. You're not supposed to watch titties on TV. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to listen to certain songs about sex and stuff like that. Like we had all these rules, and it kind of was embedded in my soul. It kind of was like in my system. And then I had a mom and sisters in them, and my sister My sisters did have babies at young ages, but that but that wasn't my life. You know what I mean? That wasn't what I was getting into. I mean, that was on them. And then when I got into high school, I started, the sex stuff started happening. But it wasn't. But I still had to be respectable about it. You know what I mean? I still had a certain respect for women. I still had a certain you know what I'm saying? I still kind of like didn't want to go there with women, and I thought that strippers was nasty. I thought what Ricky thought. I thought what Ricky thought. I thought stripping was fucked up. I thought that all of them was hoes and all that kind of stuff. And so hold on for a second. Something going on. Let's look. Let's look. Let's look. We got a little bit of the time out. I don't know what's going on. Something going on at the door. But anyway, forget all that. Forget all that. What was I saying? What was I saying? Okay, here's what I was saying. I was saying that all strippers was hoes and sluts and whores and tramps and all that bad stuff. I felt the same way Ricky did. I didn't like him. I was like, that's a nasty world. That's a nasty world. And that world is for nasty people. And that's what I thought. And that's what I thought. And that's how I was living my life. I'm like, I'm never going to go to no stripper club. I'm never going to spend my money on those strippers. I'm never going to hang out with them. I'm never going to talk to them. They're not my people. And that's how I was living. And even after I was a teenager, even after that, like my teenage years wasn't spent doing a lot of hoeing. I had girlfriends. I had one girlfriend that I kept for about 5-6 years, and I had other girls that I dealt with in between time with my girlfriends, whatever like that. But I never was into the hoes. I never was into the hoes. I was just into like relationships and being with one girl and taking care of her, loving on her and treating her right and fucking on her and nobody else. That's how I was throughout my teenage years. I never was a pimp, never was a player, never was out here in these streets. Now I had my share of women because there were times when I did get out there in the street, but it wasn't hoeing. It was like if I liked the girl, I talked to her, I fucked on her, and if we worked out, we stayed. If we didn't work out, we played. You know what I'm saying? It was like regular man shit. But I never was into the hoes. I never was into the whole concept. I never was into all of the tricking. Now, yeah, when you in the streets, you're a young boy and you out there and you doing stuff. Tricking happens a little bit. So I ain't saying I never tricked. I ain't saying that. I ain't saying that tricking never happened. I'm just saying, you trick a little in different ways. Sometimes you go out and you just pay straight up and you get it. Sometimes, you take a girl out to dinner, pay for her nails. You don't like her. You don't like her, but if she get them chicken wings and that blunt and some of that 40, that she might do a little something. So you know what I mean? But that's what happens. But that's not none of y'all's business. I don't know why I'm telling y'all that. I gotta reel it back in. Saying the stripper world wasn't my universe, wasn't my world, wasn't the way I wanted to get down, right? And then two of my bestest homies, the two of the dudes that I was running with at that time was getting into it. I don't know how they discovered it. I don't know. Like, I was the leader of the group. That's what I thought. I was the leader of the group. Hey, sister, I see you on there. I'm acknowledging you. Hey, what's up? I'm the leader of the group. So when I'm the leader of the group and I think that I'm leading these young boys and that like they following me and like I'm protecting them and I'm being like the boss sort of kind of, it wasn't no boss, but you know what I'm saying? It was like I was driving. I was teaching them how to drive. I was arranging for a lot of things we were doing. I was protecting them. I was, being like the big brother to them in the hood because I was older and I had done more stuff. Like these two niggas didn't have experience in these streets, and I did a little bit because I did a little bit of hustling. I did a little bit of that. I did a little bit of this. I did a little bit of fighting. I had guns. I had stuff going on that they didn't have going on. And so stop it. I kind of got involved in the stripping. I mean, not stripping. I was more involved in the world a little bit. So I was kind of like the leader of the group. So when they said that they went to this, I think it was called Blue Moon or Blue Nile, something like that. Blue Nile. It's called the Blue Nile. Blue Moon is another whole thing we ain't talk about. It's called the Blue Nile. And they went to this Blue Nile place, and they came back and they told me like, "Oh, we went to this place, and it was a stripper girl. It wasn't the Blue Moon. Blue Moon is that hotel. Yeah. No, that's not. No, that's the tricking place, not the stripping place. Oh, the stripper. you try and get a nigga caught up. I don't know. It's a stripper place called a Blue something, but it wasn't. It wasn't the fucking blue moon. You know what I mean? Here goes Sandra. You were smashing the strippers. What you like? Why you gotta keep saying that? Put your government out there again. I ain't mean to. I'm sorry. I just, I ain't never called you that. I ain't never called you Pebbles. You know what I mean? I never called you that. That's your nickname that you got with your other people. So if I say your real name, that's my bad. But yeah, don't put y'all was smashing the stripper. That's right. That's right. That's true. But you let me get to that. Why are you telling my shit before I get to my shit? Like, let me get to that. But anyway, they went to this place and they was telling me about it. And they said it was a girl there and she was stripping or whatever. And I was just like, okay, it was a dancing girl, whatever you want to call it, dancing girl, whatever. And I was like, okay, And they was just like, just go with us. Just go with us. We're going to go there. We're going to have a couple of beers. Just go. And I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to go. I'm going to show up. And I went there, and I was having my beer, and I was sitting there, and this girl came around. She was walking around, fine as fuck. This girl was fine. Like, I was like, oh, shit, look at her. Nice girl, light skin, like nice. And I'm not saying light skin is the right skin and none of that shit. Don't go and say, oh, she was fine because she was light skin. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying her skin was light. Okay, that's just what it happened to be. Okay, her skin was light. I like dark skinned girls too. One of my favorite strippers was dark as hell. Blackberry. That was her name. Her name was Blackberry because that's how black she was. So don't hate on me saying I'm about light skin is the right skin. I ain't on that type time. Okay, anyway. She was nice. She's a nice girl, had a nice body, light skin, everything, right? And they was all over there. And they was tipping her, touching a little bit, drinking her beer, and I'm enjoying my beer. And what I said to this girl was, hey, don't touch me. Don't come over here by me. Don't get near me. Don't nothing with me. I'm not here for that. I'm here with my homies. I'm trying to chill, have my beer. I'm not with the fucking stripper shit. Because I still wasn't with it. I was like, I don't like this. I don't appreciate this. I was thinking, and she was light skinned too, my baby sister light skinned. I was thinking about my baby sister. I'm in there thinking about my baby sister, thinking about my mom and them, thinking about how I feel about women and how I feel about stripping and how I thought it was degrading and nasty and hoey and slutty and all the bad shit. So I'm like, nah. I'm not doing that. So she was like, what's your problem? Ain't you a man trying to hate on me? So I say, I'm not no man because I don't want to give you a dollar. I'm not no man because I don't want to put dollars in your ass crack. I'm not no man because I don't want to touch you for my money. I'm not no man. Like, the fuck you talking about? Fuck is you talking about who you talking to? You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, you know what? I digress. She's still trying to make money. She got to play her little game. But then she kept on going. She kept on talking. Oh, are you sure, daddy? All this shit. Like, that shit don't faze me. That shit don't amuse me. I'm not on that type of time. Don't call me daddy. I'm not your daddy. I don't listen. Get the fuck away. And she did her rounds again. She went around. She got some more dollars here, did a little dance and whatever. She come back to me. And when she came back to me the second time, she kind of touched me. She leaned she put her ass on my arm. Her ass cheek was on my fucking arm. And I was like, no, she didn't. Because in my head, that ass is stank. In my head, that ass is funky. In my head, a lot of men's hands been on that ass. A lot of men's hands been groping it, touching it. It's dirty. She thinks she's a hoe. That's what's in my head. I don't want her pussy juice nowhere near my skin. Like, that's how I felt. I was like, she getting pussy juice on my skin. She doing all this shit to me. I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want her to touch me at all. So I'm like, yo, get the fuck off of me. And then finally I just snapped out. I said, get the fuck off of me. I said, I told you don't fucking touch me. I got up. And I got my beer, and I was like, finished my beer. I had to get the fuck out of there. I had to leave. Embarrass her, embarrass myself, embarrass my two friends. It embarrassed everybody. The whole situation was fucking embarrassing. I couldn't help myself. I did not like it. And when I don't like something, I don't fuck with it. Like, it's like, no, we're not about to do that. And I warned her. I told her. I talked to her nicely at first, but, she got out of pocket. She thought she could woo. She thought she could woo. She thought she could woo me, and she was wrong. She was just absolutely wrong. So that was the first experience, and I was still over it. I was still done with it. I still wanted no parts of it. I was like, nope, it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna do this. And I told my friends, don't ever try to take me back to that place. Like, if y'all want to go there and drink, go there by yourself. I'm not participating. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want nothing to do with it. And then one night we was outside. We was just trying to find something to do. We ain't know what we was getting into the one night. We was just trying to find something to do. And so we was walking around. We went to a couple of bars, had a couple of drinks, did a couple of things, made a couple of moves, you know what I mean, and whatever. And this was whatever. And we bumped into this girl. And my friend, my young boy, my brother Conrad says, hey, I know her. And I'm like, you know her? He was like, yeah, I know her. So we go over there and we start talking to her. And you know how I am. Usually it's like, I don't have no problem talking to no girls. I'm like, spit your game, talk your shit. You know what I mean? That was me. I talked a whole bunch of shit, especially when I'm on one. I don't got a problem. And, you know, we was high and drunk most likely 9 out of 10 times. So I don't have no problem with the girls, right? In that situation. So I walk up, you know, we talking some shit. And then the girl was basically like, y'all coming up in here? Coming up in where? Coming up and where? She was like, this is the place to be. Come up in here and party with us. You know, we doing some things up in here. Y'all can come up in here and get busy. And I'm like, oh, okay. So at first it was like, yeah, we're going to go up in here. We're going to go up in there. We're going to have a good old time up in there. We're going to go up in there. She know the girl. And this girl was right up my alley too. Tall, big boned, you know, thick, like bigger than me thick. Like tall, bigger than me thick, had the brown skin. I wanted up against my brown skin. You know what I'm saying? I was in love. At first sight, I was like, damn, Conrad, you know her? She didn't want nothing to do with him. She wanted a lot to do with me. She was touching me, talking to me. I was like, okay, okay. And then she was like, you coming up in here? I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking we're going to go up in there. We're going to have a couple of drinks. We're going to be chilling. It was going to be a vibe. And then she said, yeah, because I'm going to take these motherfucking clothes off. And I was like, what? You gonna take your clothes off? They're like, yeah, it's a strip joint. It's shaky butt butts. That's what we call it, the shaky butts, the strip joint, where we call them the shaky butts. So you're like, yeah, we're gonna be up there shaking our asses, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, that's it. Never mind. Cancel Christmas. Because this nigga here wasn't going. I was like, I'm not going up in there. I'm not doing that. Like, no, that wasn't the vibe. That's not my type time. I'm not on that type time. I'm not doing none of that. And she come up on me, lean on me. She blushed the nigga up. I'm black as hell. My cheeks was rosy red. She blushed me up, and I'm usually strong with the bitches. You know what I'm saying? I usually stand firm on the women. I stand firm on everything I say. I was the man. I was like, you know, fuck hoes. You know what I mean? I was like, this nigga, right? And then what happened was that she blushed me up. She was like, so you saying you don't want to come up there and see this pussy? And I'm like, what? I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to respond. I was blushed up. I was flustered. I was like, oh. And then I was thinking in my head, like, I do want to see that pussy. You know what I mean? I do want to see it. I do want to see it because I love you. That's how I felt. I love you, honey. You is my boo now. You know what I'm saying? So I loved her. So then it was like, yo, I don't want to go up there. And that night, I don't remember for sure if we went up there that night or we didn't, but I know that after that night, I was like, yo, this is fucked up. Like, I really wanted to go up there. So I was like, I'm going to try to figure it out. No, I did not smash that girl. I kind of like never really seen her again. That was just a situation right there that got me thinking. She just got the wheels rolling in my head that maybe I do want to see that pussy. Like maybe I do want to go up there. Like maybe I do want to enter one of these places one day. And that's just kind of what happened. So yeah, it was like okay, let's go. Let's get it. Let's get in there. And I was just like, you know, that's just what it was. So at that point, we started going like to the Blue Nile again. So I kind of weaned my way in there. They said they wanted to go. I was kind of like more comfortable with it. And so it was like more comfortable with it. And so we started going into the Blue Nile, and then you know I tipped a little bit, touched a little ass. I was like, okay, this is not bad. I started getting a little bit more comfortable with it. So then we started going places and getting a little comfortable with the situation. I felt a little better about it. And I'm a talker. I'm a talker. Have you not noticed that I love to talk? I do a lot of talking, and so yeah, I'm a talker. And so I started talking to these girls a little bit. You know, I started saying, hey, how you doing? What's your real name? Because I know your name is Champagne. Your mom didn't name you Champagne. Like, get the fuck out. Your mom didn't name you Champagne. Okay. What's your real name? They were telling her, oh, my name is Jennifer. You know. They would talk to me, tell me, oh, my name's Jennifer, you know what I mean? And it became personal. It became a little bit personal. I kind of had a little bit of a personal relationship with her. I'm like, okay, we're going to the Blue now. Okay, I hope Jennifer's there. I want to see Jennifer because I've talked to Jennifer. I had a conversation with Jennifer, and I look at her as Jennifer. I don't look at her as champagne. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at her as, okay, ask for cash. I don't look at her as a hub. I know her name. It's kind of personal. She talked to me. She talked to me about my sister. She talked, like, we've had conversation about life. She know what I do for a living. I know what she do for a living. Well, what she do in her spare time. I know what she doing right now. But it was kind of a repertoire, or whatever it's called. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. But we kind of had a rapport with each other. Rapport, I think that's the word. We kind of had a rapport with each other. We talked to each other. It was nice. It was nice. It was nice. Then they found this place called the Rum Cave. And if you live in West Philadelphia, you've been in there. Don't lie. Don't lie. I ain't calling you out. I ain't calling you out. I ain't putting no names up here. None of that like that. But if you was a man and you lived in West Philadelphia during the late 90s, throughout some of the 2000s, early 2000s, around that time frame, late 90s, early 2000s, you've been in the Rum Cave. You've been in there. You may not have liked it. You may did like it. I don't know what you're saying, but don't act like. Do not act like you ain't been in the Rum Cave. Do not lie. You've been in the Rum Cave, okay? You've been in there, and so don't lie about that. You know what I mean? You've been in the Rum Cave. She said they wouldn't let me in. Yeah, at first they was on that tight time. At first, when we first started going to the Rum Cave, they was like, "Yo, we not letting no. We did. They didn't really want women in there when we first started going. They didn't really want women in there when we first started going. And you ain't never had no ID. Don't stop. It was a bar too. It was liquor in there, and you never had no ID. And I didn't understand that. It was like, why get an ID, yo? Like, get an ID. You never had an ID, and so they didn't let you in because you didn't have an ID, and they was kind of a little bit like they didn't want other girls in there because it was kind of almost dangerous. Like every girl that came in there, the niggas in there thought that they were stripping. You know what I'm saying? So if you would have came in there, they would have been like, "Oh, is she stripping?" They would have tried to talk to you, try to touch you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They would have tried to talk to you. You know what I mean? My breath was big. That was my ID. No, that was more reason to get somebody fucked up. That was more reason to start fighting. You know what I'm saying? Because you would have been there, you would have been in there, you would have been chilling with me and Rat and Peasy, and you would have been in there, and one of them dudes would have grabbed your teddy or something like that. And then we would have been like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? He would have been like, yo, ain't she in here? She should be in here if she ain't showing them titties. You know what I mean? You know, like how niggas do. So that would have been a bad situation. That would have put us in a bind right there because they thought, like I said, every girl in there was in there to strip, shake her ass, show some titties, get some money. And so at first, yeah, they didn't want girls in there. So they didn't let girls in there. And like I said, it was still a bar. It was still a bar. So in our approach of going in there, I found out that the dudes that was at the door, the bouncers that was at the door was some of my niggas. They was dudes that my sister had went to school with. So I knew the bouncer boys. They was dudes that my sister had went to school with. And then they what else did they do? Oh, they worked at the Long Acre chicken store that we used to always go to. So I knew these dudes. So I'm like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, my homies? So now I'm like, okay, now we in here. Now we feel protected. I feel protected. I feel like, you know what, I could wild out because I'm a little bit of an asshole. I'm a little bit of a fucked up individual. Like when I was in them streets at that time, I talked a lot of shit. I did a lot of shit and I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, if we get in a fight, we get in a fight. We get into some shit. We get into some shit. I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to do my thing. And so when I got there and I saw my niggas, some of my niggas, some of my homies, some of these dudes that looked at me as like the little homie because my sister was older and they hung with her. So I was like the little homie. So I was like, I'm down with that. I got a little bit of protection in here. I feel good about myself in here. And so it was like, it was more of a comfort. It was a comfort to see them dudes at the door, right? Then we go into the Rum Cave and it's like, it's small. The hole in the wall. It is a crappy ass place for real. This is like a stupid ass, crappy ass bar. Lights is off. It's on. It's like sometimes you got the standing room only or whatever. But we started. We got there early. We got these little seats right on our side, and we sat there and we got cool with the bartender or whatever. And it was a vibe. It was a little bit of vibe. It was a cool time, and the girls would walk by. And, I don't. It was lit enough that you can see the faces. It was lit enough that you can actually see the faces. You can actually see what these girls really look like. It wasn't like a dark, they couldn't hide the beauty or the ugliness. You know what I mean? And listen, I don't hate on women, but some y'all know some girls is ugly now. Some girls is ugly. Some girls is ugly, but they got that body, yada yada, ass and tits popping, so you don't care. You just like turn around. You get the lap dance with them facing the bar. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got the girls that you can get the lap dance. I like the lap dancers facing me. I like the girls to face me. I like to look at them and talk to them in the eyeballs. I like that. So, but me, I had a certain type. I had a certain type of girls that I wanted. So it was certain girls that walked by. The baddest bitch was not for me. The baddest bitch in there was not for me. I didn't want the baddest bitch in there. I didn't want the girl that all the niggas wanted to dance with. I didn't want the girl that looked the best in there. I wanted a girl that maybe I could relate to. I wanted a girl that I felt good about. I wanted the girl that I felt like I could have a conversation with. The baddest bitch in there was about her money. The baddest bitch in the strip club is only about that bread. She don't give a fuck about nothing else, okay? I want the girl that gets a dance here and there, that looks, like a regular, I need an around the way girl. You know what I mean? I wanted a girl that kind of looked like a girl that I would fuck with, kind of like a girl that I might like deal with on outside of strip. Because I wasn't banging. Like, you know what I mean? I ain't have a ton of money. I had enough money to do what I wanted to do for the night or whatever, how I ran it down. And I could get a couple of dollars out in the streets if I really needed a couple of dollars, but I went, but I ain't have a lot of money. And I wore my polos because that's what I wore. So I wore my polo clothes, but I wasn't the flyest nigga, you know what I mean? And this. I mean, it was a time that I kept my hair cut, but other than that, I didn't give a fuck about this neither. So I wasn't that nigga that could had a baddest bitch and make her want to deal with me. Okay, the only way the baddest bitch was gonna be on my lap is if I had that cash, if I was paying. So I kind of got the girls, the middle tier joints. I ain't had to go for the ugly ducklings. Okay, I ain't talking about that. The ugly ducklings. I'm not about to give an ugly duckling no money to sit on my lap or talk to me or do anything with me. Even though I ain't gonna front some of the ugly girls in the room, cake, and I ain't saying ugly as in this. I'm saying they just don't. I'm saying for real, listen, y'all know people don't look good. Okay, y'all know there's people out here that are not attractive. So I did have relationships with some of the unattractive girls in there. They would come by. They would talk to me. They knew me by name. Hey, Tyrone, what's up, y'all? Well, some of them knew me by Flypo. Some of them knew me by Tyrone, but whatever the case may be. Hey, Tyrone, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Blah, blah, blah. I could talk to them for a few minutes, you know what I'm saying? But she already knew. She already knew you wasn't my type time. So you wasn't about to get on this lap. You wasn't about getting under these dollars. You know what I mean? I was friendly. We had friendly relationships. They would tell me about stories in the back, tell me about the bitches, tell me about all the shit that was going on. But no, you're not getting on this lap. This lap is reserved for my special girls. So I had about 2 or 3 special girls up in the room, okay? About 2 or 3 special girls. And when I went there, okay, I got 2 dancers for you, 2 dancers for you, and 2 dancers for you. And they knew the deal. My special girls knew the deal. And it got to the point where there was no jealousy involved. There was no bad things involved. My special girls knew the deal. So if one of my special girls was over here at the other side of the bar and she saw special girl number 1, give me a lap dance. She ain't get mad. She ain't be like, what you doing? She ain't be like, oh no. She just knew that when she got around, it was her turn. Like she knew when she got around that table that it was her turn. And I wasn't going to be able to deny it because she was going to be like, oh, it's special girl night. You know what I'm saying? It was like special girl night. So it was like, okay, you come around, come on, you know what I mean? And there was this one girl, man, and I'm not revealing no names, no kind. There was this one girl that just came and she did not ask me nothing. Like soon as she popped over to that side, she sat down. Because she knew, like she was my special girl. Like she was my number one. You know what I mean? She was my number one. So she just sat down. She ain't had to ask me nothing. She sat down and she knew it was 2 or 3 dancers on the table. It was 2 or 3 dancers on the table. And the thing was, she wasn't even money hungry because she knew like 4 dancers is out of the question. 4 dancers is out of the question. I'm not lap dancing. You're not getting 4 dancers. And I still got 2 other special girls in here, and I might find a new special girl just for that one time thing. You know, like, girl, you see, like, man, I gotta have that just one time. That ass is too good. You know what I mean? She understood the process of the situation, and so it was like, you know what I mean? It was like she knew. So after 3 dances, she would be like, all right, I gotta go. Or she see a guy that points to her like, I'm next. And she knows that I'm gonna let her go head on and go because I don't got no more money for her anyway. Like I don't want no more of that. So she would get up and leave. So that's how it was. So that was the process. So then the rum keg became the spot. The rum keg became the spot. It was like every weekend, what we doing? Rum kegging it up. Rum keg, rum keg, rum keg. And I was dipping and dabbing with women. I was in a couple of relationships that didn't work out, but for the most part, I was single during this time. For the most part, I wasn't dedicated to no females. Yeah, I went back to certain relationships. Yeah, I had a girl that I was in love with at the time, but we couldn't work it out. We couldn't be together. It wasn't in the cards for us. And so, yeah, I was rum kinging it up every weekend. And it got to the point where, like I said, I started having conversations with these girls. And now I know y'all thinking about the typical movie shit. I know y'all thinking about the typical movie shit where they go, "Oh, I'm working so hard because what would you do if your child was at home crying all alone on the bedroom floor because he's hungry and the only way to treat him is to sleep with a man for a little bit of money and his dad is gone." Y'all remember that song? Well, that song was like the stripper code. Everybody thought that song was like the stripper code. Like, yeah, I got to be a hoe, but I got to be a hoe because I got a son and I got to take care of him. He ain't got no daddy, baby daddy, fucking drama. I'm poor. I'm living on welfare. I'm fucked up. I got to be a hoe. I'm here stripping. I got to pay for college. All that movie shit. I got to pay for college. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got kids at home. I got to do this. I got to do that. That is not the fucking shit that I was hearing. That is not the stories that I was going through. That was not really their lives. That was movie shit. I talked to these girls, and these girls was regular girls. Yeah, some of them was in school. Some of them was in school. Some of them did have kids. Some of them had fucked up baby daddy. Some of them had daddy issues and home life problems and everything like regular women do. But they wasn't riding on that. They wasn't telling me that this is why I'm stripping. They wasn't telling me that I'm shaking ass for cash because I got daddy issues. They wasn't telling me that I'm shaking ass for cash because I can't afford to take care of my kids. They wasn't telling me that they was shaking ass for cash because they got to pay for college or they trying to better themselves for a better life, all that shit. They was keeping it real. And that's what I like. They kept it real. Them bras was like, yo, I came here on a humbug. My girlfriend said I can make a bunch of money. So I just came here, whatever. This is my regular panties. Some of them girls told me, this is my regular panties and bra. This is what I wear at home. These are my regular underwears. I came here. The girl said I had to pay. The way it worked with my explanation, they come there, they pay $10 to strip for the night. And I don't know how they tips or whatever work, but they just paid to come in. So a lot of them girls were just like, you know what? My friend said I can make a couple of dollars. And, I'm grown. These are my regular panties and bras. I'm not out here buying outfits. I'm not out here buying shiny shoes. Most of them, some of them had on socks. Some of them had on like ankle socks and shit. And was just like, yo, I just came here on a humbug, took off my pants, my jeans, and look, niggas just giving me money. I'm just gonna take it. I'm here for the money. I'm trying to get some money. I got a regular job. Like, I work at Walmart. I work at Wendy's. I work in an office. You know what I mean? I work in an office. I'm in school to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever. These women, it was like a lot of them had lives outside of that. So they wasn't on that movie shit. They wasn't on that typical I'm stripping to pay my child, pay for my kids, or I'm stripping to do that shit like you hear about. They wasn't on that. They was just keeping it real. Some of them just was on a humbug tip. Some of them was just like, yo, I needed a couple dollars a night. And I was like, fuck it. I can show these pennies and let a nigga grab my ass a little bit for a couple dollars. Like it was a vibe. It was cool, and I got cool as shit with a bunch of them. Like cool as shit, like I know her real name. I know her real name. This is my boo. That's my special girl. That's my special girl. That's my special girl. And it became a vibe. And then some shit started happening. Like, for instance, one time we found out that the rum keg had lost their liquor license. That's right. Now, before we went to the rum keg, when they still was the bar, they said the liquor license, it was like $10 got you in, but you also got like 2 drink tickets. So you paid $10 to get in, but you got a drink ticket for 2 free drinks. So you go in, you give your drink ticket, you get a drink. You get a beer or a drink with the 2 drink tickets, and that was cool. And then they lost the liquor license. So to get in went down $5. That's right, it was only 5 measly motherfucking dollars to get in that door. $5 to get in, and then you didn't get the drink tickets, they ain't had no drinks. You know what I'm saying? They lost liquor license, so you couldn't get no more drinks. So it was $5 to get in. You paid your $5 to get in, and then whatever the girls paid for dancing, and then you paid the girls. It was $5 a lap dance. Every lap dance was $5. So it was kind of cool, right? And when they lost their liquor license, they was like, you know what? Fuck it. You can BYOB. And when the rum cake went to BYOB, shit got crazy. Shit got crazy because me, I'm a thinking motherfucker. So I got smart. I said, look, right, it's BYOB, which means we can't get drinks in here. We got to bring our own drinks in here. But it also meant that the girls couldn't get drinks either. They had to bring their own drinks too. So now I was like, how do I manipulate this? How do I work this out? How do I do it? And I knew how to do it because guess what? St. Ives, baby. That's right, St. Ives, baby. And I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of a little bit disgusting that women drink with drink St. Ives. It's kind of disgusting that women would drink St. Ives, but they do. Okay, you'd be surprised. Okay, women drink 40s, women drink St. Ives, women like it. So I was surprised, but I was like, you know what? I can get 2 40s. It's 2 for $5. So for $5, I can bring in 2 40s. That's 80 ounces of St. Ives beer. I don't give a fuck my brother and them doing. They got to figure it out. Conrad, they figure it out. I might pour y'all a cup. Y'all don't got no money, but we all got to figure it out. But I had 2 St. Ives and they was frosty too. Ooh, man. We had the store that we could get the frosty St. Ives from with the ice still on the fucking bottle, right? So we got 2 St. Ives with the ice on the bottle. We go in there and we'd pour it up. We had little cups there, and if a girl wanted a cup of St. Ives, I'll pour her a cup. I ain't care. Only cost me $5 for 80 ounces of beer. So I was pouring it up. It was like we had bottle service. It was like we was in the champagne room. It was like the shit was wild that these girls just wanted St. Ives malt liquor, but they did. They wanted St. Ives malt liquor, and so we poured it up. We poured it up in there. St. Ives malt liquor, we poured it up. I spent $10. If I spent $10, I got 440s. What? It was party over here. I would line them up on my table. Boom, 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 440s. And they would just come over. Hey, can I have a little bit of that 40? Can I get a little bit of that St. Ives? Hell yeah, what you doing? And she leaning on me, tits on me. I ain't paying, but the titties is on me. I ain't paying, but the ass is on me. I ain't paying, but I got my little hand down on the small of her back, telling her, go ahead, honey, get you a little bit of 40. And then I cup it a little bit. I got me a little feel on. She leans on me. I hug her a little bit closer. Go ahead, get some. Thank you. She give me a hug. I hug her. I like hugging her. I like the feeling. Thank you. And it was excellent. And I had a good time doing that. I had a good time getting hugs from some of these girls. I had a good time having conversations with some of these girls. I had a good time getting some of the lap dances from some of these girls. Okay, I had a good time with doing some of that shit, and it was fun. So we would bring in 40s. One time we brought in a whole case of Smirnoff Ice. Y'all remember when Smirnoff Ices was out? The girls was the Smirnoff Ices set that shit to a whole new level. I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level. I'm on a new level because we was killing it with the Smirnoff Ices, bro. We was killing it when we brought those Smirnoff Ices in there. And then it got to the point where I had stopped. I wasn't smoking. Like I smoked, but I wasn't a smoker. Like, you know what I mean? I smoked marijuana, but with the cigarettes, I was like, nah, I wasn't really too much into the cigarette smoking, but I did like smoke at times. I smoked in bars. I smoked when I was drinking. I smoked cigarettes a lot when I was in the military, right? So I was a smoker, right? But these girls smoke. Like they wanted cigarettes, and it was back in the day, you could smoke indoors, no problem. So then I started buying Newports. Now you would think that nigga would have been smart, started selling Lucy's in there, but I ain't sell Lucy's. Yeah, I just said, any girl want a cigarette, come get one. Come get one. You want a cigarette? Come over here and get a cigarette. I don't care. I got the whole pack. I set it on the bar. I would get a pack of cigarettes and sit them motherfuckers on the bar. Newports on the bar, green and white packs. You can't deny. You know they Newports. I would get the Newports. I sit them right on the bar. I sit them right on the bar because the bitches can see them. It was like a magnet to their eyeballs. It was like an attraction to the bitches. Like, as soon as I set that pack of Newports on the bar, it was like all the bitches just zoned in on the Newports, which means they was also zoning in on me. Yeah, so it's like she'll be coming around that mountain when she comes, yeah, because she's coming around here. She's seeing 40, she's seeing Newports, she's seeing me. My niggas is here. She's coming. And I make that eye contact. I look over and I see a girl looking at me, and then she goes, and I go, yeah, come on around. You can get a cigarette. Sure, honey. When you get around here, you get a cigarette. You want a cup of beer too? Want some of this 40 audio? That's for you. You know what I mean? And so when she came around, it was like, boom. Get your cigarette, get your beer. But the key kicker was that she needed a place to smoke that cigarette. She needed a place to drink that beer. See, the rum cake was packed. It was small, so it was standing room only. It was standing room only. And this bitch been in heels for an hour, walking around giving lap dances in heels for an hour. And even when she's giving a lap dance, she's still tired. Because even when she's giving a lap dance, even though she's sitting down, she's still boom, boom. Because nobody played no slow shit. You would think that a man would be smart enough to go, hey, play a slow song so you can grind on it. Some dudes was grinding a little bit too much. It was nuts busting there, I guarantee you. But anyway, you can grind on a little bit. But no, they played Ludacris Chicken and Beer. Ludacris Chicken and Beer was on rotation in the rum cake all night long. But you the hoe, move, bitch. Get out the way, bitch. Like all that songs. Ludacris Chicken and Beer was on heavy rotation in the rum cake. So she was dancing, bouncing, moving around, hustling, sweaty titties. You know what I mean? It was like, so when she came around and she came to get that cigarette and the beer, I would do the gentlemanly thing, which was get out of my seat, stand up, and sit her down on my bench. Hey, sit down. Enjoy your beer and your cigarette. Take a load off. Take 5 minutes. Now, first few times that happened with the girls, that was cool. Tyrone's a gentleman. Oh, he's so nice. Oh, he gave up his seat. Oh, popping. And then it became, no, you ain't got to get up. And where did they sit? Right on my lap. Right on my lap. You ain't even got to get up, Tyrone. We know how you get down here. Sit down. Smoke your cigarette. Here, drink your beer. And guess what? It wasn't a lap dance, but it was cool. I had my hand on her thigh, on her kneecap. I like kneecaps. Hand on her thigh, on her kneecap. Sometimes, and guess what? Even though she was taking a break, and even though she knew it wasn't a lap dance, and even though she knew that I wasn't paying for what she was doing, if her song came on, she still moved that ass. She couldn't help it. It's like black people, when certain songs come on, you got to move. She couldn't help it. So there were times where she would be there just to enjoy her cigarette and her beer. But guess what? That certain song came on and she was and I was right with her. And then it got to the point, me and my two young boys, my brothers, we was there so much that we was popular. We was like stars there. And we was broke as fuck. We ain't had no money. We ain't have like nothing fancy to bring them bras to us. But we were stars there because we devoted our time. We showed up every week. We was faithful to the girls. We was faithful to like these are the girls that we dancing. All our money is going to this set group of girls. No other girls is getting any money from us. Like we was like loyal to our stripper family. And we was gonna have beer, we was gonna have cigarettes, we was gonna have lollipops. This one girl, she liked blow pops, so I brought her 2 blow pops every time I came in. So she was gonna have her blow pop. We was gonna have some 40s, we was gonna have some Smirnoff ices, we was gonna have some cigarettes. You know what I mean? We was gonna let them sit down, have a place to sit when they needed to take a little break. We was gonna talk to them like human beings. Like we talked to them, like I said, we was on first name basis. We was like, hello, how you doing? We knew their names. We knew their real names. We whispered in their ears. We talked to them. We asked them, how the kids doing? How your mama doing? What happened to your brother? Didn't your brother have surgery last week? Oh, yeah, my brother had surgery last week. Yeah, we know. We in there. We asked them. We talked to them. We was vibing. And so that's my experience at the rum cake. And like I said, a lot of these girls wasn't bad girls. A lot of these girls wasn't hoeing. You know, they wasn't selling it. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't trying to go on a date. Now you had some girls like, you want a date? And it was like, what? Like, nah, I don't want no date. Like, nah, I'm not paying for that. And then you do got the tricks. I ain't gonna lie, it's trick bitches everywhere though. It ain't just in the strip club. Trick bitches are everywhere. They out in these streets. They everywhere. You don't know. You don't know them. They can disguise themselves as regular girls, and then you get with them, and they just like, you want to go on a date. And you want to go on a date. Like, I'm gonna take it to Applebee's. We're gonna get a 2 for $25. And she's like, no, I want to go on a date. Like, you're going to take me to the crib. You're going to blow this back out. You're going to give me $100. You're going to go about your business. You know what I mean? So you had girls like that. But I'm just saying that the girls that I dealt with, the girls that I talked in the strip club was not like that. A lot of them was cool girls. A lot of them was like regular people, like not on no whole type time. And let me see. The worst experience I had there, one time I got sick in there and I threw up on somebody. I told that motherfucker to move. I said, yo, let me get out the door. He was like, fuck you. I'm not getting out the door. I said, okay, listen, nigga, like, I got to get out of here immediately. It was a back door. I was trying to escape. He didn't want me to escape through up on him. You know, that was one problem. The other problem was I got these two girls in a fight one time in here. I didn't mean to get them in a fight one time in here. Let me tell you the story, right? So this one girl comes up to me and she's like, you dancing? No. You tipping? No. I'm not dancing. I'm not tipping. I'm trying to, like, I'm chilling. Then she started hitting me with the whole, what you in here for? Why you in here if you're not dancing, you're not tipping? And I'm like, yo, I got my special girls. I got my special girls, and you're not one of them. You're not about to do it. And my real special girl was in there at the time, and she was like my homie lover friend. Like, we was like real cool. Like, we was down, and she was in there walking around, and then the girl was like, I can't be your special friend. And I'm like, no, you can't. You can't be one of my special girls. I'm not tipping you. I'm not dancing. You go ahead on about your business. So she came back. She did her rounds, and she came back again, and she goes, I'm still not special. And bitch, what did I say? Like, what did I say? You're not special. You're not one of my special girls. And I'm surprised that you even doing this, because I come here every week. I'm here every week. I'm here every week with my homies. We sit in the same spot every week, same 40s every week. You know me. I've never talked to you. We've never had a conversation. We've never dealt with each other. You've never sat on my lap. I never gave you a cigarette. Never gave you no beer. Like, I never gave you a lollipop. Like, why the fuck would you even think that you're one of my special girls? Why the fuck would you even think to come over here? Why are you getting in my business? Like, get the fuck out of here. And so I was like, go ahead on. So then when my girly girl got around, she said, what's that bitch doing? I said, nothing. She was trying to get me to dance. She was like, don't she know better than that? I was like, yeah, you know, she know better than that. I told her she wasn't my special girl. She's always should be one of my special girls, whatever, like that. So she gets back around. I'm talking to my special girl. She on my lap. She comes back around. Now she mad. She comes back around. She sees my special girl on my lap. We chilling. She having a cigarette. We you know, I'm giving her the lollipop. Not that kind of lollipop, like the blow pop, the real candy. You know what I mean? I'm giving a lollipop. You know, we drink it for 40, whatever. And this girl come back around. She's like, oh, so this is the special girl, this Miss Special Girl. And I'm like, listen, just stop. Like, you're not it. Just stop. And then she proceeds to like keep going. And then the girl, my special girl, who was also not fucking around, like, she was about her business, she was about that life. She was like, bitch, he said move on. Like, you already know better. I don't know why you think you would come over here. So they had a little bit of words. They exchanged. And then she went about her business. Everybody went about business. We cool. And then I see one of the fucking bouncers got my special girl, got her up, and she's kicking and screaming. She's like, get the fuck off me. Fuck that bitch. And she's kicking and screaming as he's dragging her out to the door. And I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? And he's pointing at me like, you might get the fuck out of here too. And I'm like, me? What did I do? What is going on? What is going on? So apparently I caused a problem because the girl went back up there. And they still got into more beef in the back. And the other girl that wasn't my special girl, she was walking out freely. Guess what? That nose was fucking sideways. She said, she broke my nose. The blood gushing. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting bitches nose broke up in here. Like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do it. But I told her nicely, you know what I'm saying? And you don't interrupt another girl when she's getting a dance on or whatever she's doing, you know what I mean? But, you know, so those was the only really two bad experiences that I had there. Now, my brother had a real bad experience. Well, it wasn't bad. It was funny as fuck, but it was bad for him. But I'm not going to put it out there. Okay, I'm going to put it out there. There was this girl. I brought my brother, my real brother, like my brother, to the strip club, to the rum cave. He wasn't about that life neither. Like, he was kind of grew up same way I grew up, so he wasn't about that life. He wasn't about stripper life. He wasn't about anything to do with strippers. He didn't really want to go, but he kind of wanted to hang out with us because he never really hung out with us because we was doing things he wasn't into. But he decided to go, and he went there one night. And this girl was over there, and she was dancing. And he was uncomfortable, and I told her, get away from him. But she was like, mind your business, he a grown man. I told him to tell her, get away from him. He didn't. And needless to say, my brother ended up with this girl standing up on the bench, like dancing in front of him, and he had like a wet spot right on his forehead. It was wet, real wet, like dripping down. And let's just say that wasn't water. And it was on his forehead. And it was from the middle of her body. And I was like, push her Yo, don't let her do that to you. And he didn't want to. He didn't want to. He didn't want to push her down. He didn't want to get her off him. And so yeah, that was nasty on my brother's forehead. That was crazy. That was a crazy night. But anyway, so that is my relationship, like with as far as like going to the rum cake. So we went to the rum cake, like I said, we milked the cow. Like I said, it was cheap. It was like, listen, if me, Conrad, and Day wanted to go to the rum cake, we only needed like $30. It was $15 for us to get in. The 40s was 2 for $5. So that's 15. The 40s is 2 for $5. That's 20. A pack of cigarettes was $5. So that's 25. Right? So we would pay the 15 for all three of us to get in, the $5 for 2 40s, the $5 for a pack of cigarettes. That's $25. And then I would have $5 left over for a lap dance. So yeah, I was only gonna get one lap dance. My brothers was only gonna get, they wasn't gonna get no lap dances, but they didn't Conrad was gonna get their fill ups because we had the 40s and the cigarettes and the lollipops, whatever we had. So when the girls came around, they got roped because they would stand with us. They would stand there, they would lean on us, they would hug us, they would back their ass up on us a little bit, whatever. The ones that wanted to take the break would sit on my lap or whatever. And it was cool, it was a vibe because we could tell them. We didn't have to be ashamed of ourselves. We didn't have to be fucked up. We could tell them, hey, we just came in here for a minute. We ain't really getting down like we normally get down. We could tell them, hey, we ain't got no money tonight. And they didn't care. They were just like, what? Like, yeah, we ain't got no money tonight. We just came to see y'all real quick. We got the 40s, we got the cigarettes, you know what I mean? We chilling tonight. You know what I mean? We could tell them, and it wasn't no thing like y'all broke ass niggas. It wasn't no thing like, fuck y'all not coming. Why would y'all come up in here? It was just a thing like, yo, we just came for the vibe. We just came to have some beer, drink with y'all. We could have kept our $30 and we would have had a good night home. We would have some marijuana. We would have had a real good night on the block. But we came here because we wanted to see y'all. We wanted to talk to y'all. We wanted to, bring y'all, make sure y'all had y'all 40 and y'all cigarettes. So it was like we didn't even need a lot of money between us. Like if we could scrounge up a couple of dollars, we was in the building. I mean, even if it got to the point where we just had enough money to just get in there, we was in there because we would still talk to the girls. We would still see some shit. There was always action going on. There was always a fight or an argument or something going on. There was always a bitch that was in there that was happy to see us. You know what I mean? So it was still a good time. And it didn't matter if we had money or not. Didn't matter if we had money or not, and we always kept that vibe. We never went to like when we went to other places. Like there was cheerleaders, but cheerleaders wasn't that vibe. Cheerleaders was the baddest bitches. Cheerleaders was the baddest bitches. They have rules too. You only can touch them from here to here. You can't do certain things with them. That was Purple Orchid. Been up in the Purple Orchid. That shit was trash. That shit was like, it was not comforting in there. These women was in there about their business. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to nut. It was just like, yo, you want to lap dance? No, keep it moving, keep it pushing. Don't have no conversation with them. Don't ask me what my fucking name was. They were stuck up bitches. I didn't appreciate the Purple Orchid. I didn't appreciate the what was it called, cheerleaders or none of those clubs. I did go to the Piccadilly a few times. Piccadilly was kind of like somewhat just like the rum cake. You know what I mean? You could go in there, you could find certain girls that you could talk to, have a good time with. So the Piccadilly was cool. We went there some nights. And then my brothers, they found some other places. And now there was one place, Deep Cover, that was a ducky place. It was inside a church too. At that, it was inside like an old church, and it was called Deep Cover. Now that place wasn't for the weak of heart. And that place wasn't the kind of strippers that I'm talking about. That place was, let's just say this, they had a night that they called the Sucker Fucker Time. Right there in the building. Sucker Fucker Time. And yeah, it was exactly what it sounded like. And you had to throw money on the stage to keep them going. It was disgusting. That was not my vibe at all. I wanted out of there so bad. And guess a good funny story too. A bad thing happened to me in there. One night I was in there and it got raided. The police came up in there and locked a lot of people up. I was cuffed up and strip search, not strip search, but you know what I mean, patted down, cuffed up, put in the situation. And then I guess they found the drugs or the alcohol or they found the prostitution or whatever they came to Deep Cover to look for. And the cop uncuffed me and told me, get the fuck out of here and go home. But that was a bad place. And I only went there like on occasions, like when I didn't have rum cake money or the rum cake got closed a lot. So there were times that the Rum Cave wasn't open, and I was like, I'll go to Deep Cover real quick, see what's going on. Every night wasn't a sucker fuckathon night, but Deep Cover was crazy. Deep Cover had a wall panel that came out, and you can go in the back of the wall and go inside the wall with a chair in there, and you can do things like Deep Cover was a prostitution ring disguised as a shaky butt, but you know what I mean. But every stripper ain't that, like I said before. Every stripper ain't that. So now we got that going on. So now the Rum Cave was kind of over, and we was moving on to bigger and better things. So we started going to this Jamaican club, and we started hanging out there. We started going to this Jamaican club, shaking. It was like a Jamaican club, and you would go there, and they would play like all of her reggae music, and it was BYOB, and you could smoke weed in there, drinking it. So we was bringing in 40, smoking weed, drinking in there, and my sister was like, "Hey, I got this, This is my sister from another mister, okay? Not my blood sister, but I grew up with her. I call her my sister. She's just like my brother, like one of the homies that we grew up with. That's my sister now. You can't tell me no different, okay? But that's my sister. And she had this cousin that was like a stripper. And she had a bunch of stripper friends. And she brought her cousin and her bunch of cousin stripper friends to the Jamaican club with us one night. And they partied with us, and they party. They partied hardy. And then we was living in Southwest. We had our own crib at the time. So we was like, yo, y'all want to come back and continue this party at the crib? And they was like, hell to the yeah, they wanted to. They wanted to come back and continue this party at the crib. And for some reason, my homies, my two niggas, my lifetime niggas, my right hand, left hand, my day and my comrade didn't show up to the crib. I said, yo, I'm going back to the crib. And now, listen, I got my own car. And I'm a little fucked up. And I'm like, I'm going back to the crib. And my sister's like, yo, all of these bitches is going back to the crib with us. And I'm like, how? I got like a Chevy Cavalier hatchback. These bras ain't going with us. And she was like, yeah, they going with us. And I was like, well, and then she just jumps in the car. She's like, give me the keys. I'm driving. I'm like, you're driving? And she's like, yeah, I'm driving. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I didn't want to drive anyway. I was a little drunk, a little toasted up, a little fucked up. I didn't want to drive anyway. But then I'm like, I go to get my passenger seat, and there's a bitch sitting in my passenger seat, just sitting there chilling. And I go, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going back with y'all. Why are you in the passenger seat, though? Like, bitch, this is my car. Like, get the fuck up. Sandra, my sister's just like, no, get in the car. Just get in the car. Then I go to get in the back seat. All these bitches, I mean, like, it's piled up. They ain't sitting on laps in the back seat. So I'm like, yo, where am I? What the fuck is going on? Like, this is my car. This is my car. They have commandeered my vehicle. And my two homies have already left. They said they had to go back to the crib, make a stop real quick, and then they was gonna meet me at the house. So they said they was going back to the crib, they was gonna meet me at the house. So I'm like, my crib, my car is filled up. I'm like, what am I gonna do? So you know what? I just jumped in the hatchback. I ain't gonna lie. I just jumped right in the hatchback, closed the hatchback up, and we went on to the crib. Now we in the crib. It's all these strippers in here. All these girls in there, they doing all kinds of shit. Tits out, everything's out. It's a party, it's a vibe, it's a vibe, it's a vibe. My homies don't show up. And nobody had cell phones at the time. It wasn't the cell phone era. It was like the cell phones was those big regular looking ass phones, and nobody had cell phones. So it wasn't like I could call them. All I had was my pager, and they didn't page me. You know what I mean? We had the house phone, but I'm not calling nobody's house phone that time of night. I'm not calling no one's house phone at that time of night. So it was like, we don't have cell phones. I got my pager, but they didn't page me to call them back. So it was like, okay, fuck it. So all them strippers stayed all night. Now I thought it was going to be a party, but it ended up not being that. But then the next morning, it was like, okay, strippers, what we doing? And they was like, oh, can you take us home? Can you take us home? We got to go home. We spent the night. We got to leave. We got to go home. And my sister did invite some of her homies there. So some dudes did show up. And I think them dudes did get something what they was looking for when they showed up. I'm not sure. But anyway, I was like, can you take us home? So I was like, all right, I'll take y'all home. Whatever. So we do the strip around home. But first we went and got some breakfast. Then we took them home. We made our rounds. And then the one of them, her cousin, was like, I'm coming back to the crib with y'all. I just got to go to my house to get some stuff. And I was like, okay, we're gonna take it to a house. So we took it to a house, went up in her apartment. She started getting some stuff. She changed her clothes. She got naked. Changed her clothes. I said, you getting naked right in front of me? I don't care about you. I strip. You can see all of this, all that. And I was in there like, so you like what you see? I like that shit. I was like, okay, I like what's going on here. She wasn't embarrassed. She wasn't ashamed. She was cool people. You know what I mean? Everything was cool. So we rocked out for a little bit. We get back to the crib, everything cool, everything cool. So then a couple of days later, like she stayed for a few days, whatever. We was chilling, nothing ain't happened. But then she was like, hey, she was gonna get her fuck on. And we was like, all right, cool. So she invited some dude that was supposed to get his fuck on with her. And he was there for a little while. I didn't really like the boy, but he was cool with them. He was one of their friends. They knew him, so I was like, all right, go ahead. So they were supposed to get their fuck on, whatever, whatever. And I guess, and then he ended up leaving. And I guess he didn't do what he was supposed to do, or she didn't like him, or he didn't get his fuck on. Something went wrong. Something went wrong with that situation, right? And I was just there. Something went wrong with that situation, and so I was like, okay, that didn't happen, but it's whatever. And that's what that. So then she was basically like, so Day Conrad showed up, my homie showed up, and they was there, and we was all chilling. And then she was in the room, but we was like, where's she at? Where's she at? Why she not in here chilling with us? And she was like, I mean, I'm upset. I'm getting frustrated. And this pussy, somebody better come hit this pussy before it dry up, whatever. She said that. And I was just sitting there like, oh shit. Like she like is that what she's saying? But my boy Day was there, and she liked Day. Like the night before, the other night when we was at the thing, like that's who she liked. That's who she was into. That's who she was vibing with. So I was like, hey man, she in there. She talking about the pussy about to dry up. She wants somebody to come in there and get busy on it. So I thought it was him. I thought it was him, and I was like trying to oop him up. I was like, go ahead on and get that, you know. And I was trying to oop him up and tell him to go ahead and get that. And he didn't. He hesitated. He was like, man, and I was like, what, you're not gonna go? So then I went. And needless to say, that turned into a 2 year ordeal. You know, it turned into a 2 year ordeal. I spent 2 years involved with this woman, and it was at the point where it was at where one day marriage was put on the table. I ain't gonna lie. It was at the point where one day marriage was put on the table. One day it was like, you know what? We could get married. We could we could do this. We could be together for real, for real, for real. And life just life on us, and shit didn't work out. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh, she's a stripper, you know what I mean, and she's out here hoeing and doing all this shit and whatever. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like I was like, oh, she was cheating or whatever. It was just, we was compatible for a while, and then we was incompatible. Things happen. When you getting high and you drinking a lot, you're doing a lot of inhibitors in your life. You think things is one way. You think things is one way, and you think that this is what's happening in real life when in reality it's not happening. So there are times where, me and her had situations where we had to stop drinking and smoking. We had to stop being inhibited, and then we realized that we wasn't as compatible as we thought, that the shit wasn't going as good as we thought it was going. And at that time we both was very volatile. Now mind you, I've never beat her up. I've never abused her. It was never no verbal, physical abuse or nothing. We was just volatile. It was just not. It was just like bad fighting, bad arguments. It never turned physical, and it never was like toxic or nothing. It just wasn't. It just wasn't a happy place or a happy space. You know what I'm saying? So we parted our separate ways. We stayed friends after that. We stayed good friends. We still time to time occasionally check on each other on like social medias and stuff like that. We cool and all, but it just didn't happen. But she was cool. She wasn't like a hoe for real. Well, I mean, she was hoeing a little bit, something went, but she, like I said, it wasn't because of that. It wasn't the stripper part or the hoeing or cheating or all of them things that you think about being with a stripper that broke us up. So in my theory, you can turn a hoe into a housewife too, because guess what? A lot of them hoes don't want to be hoes. You know what I mean? A lot of them hoes want to be and want a loving relationship. They just don't. They just that's where they come from. That's what they know, and that's what they do best. You know what I'm saying? So those was most of my stripper life experiences, and then I just grew out of that shit. I just grew out of that shit. It's just the time where I started having kids. I had a lot of daughters. I got a lot of goddaughters, and I started like being more family oriented, being more focused on work. I cut down on my on like I didn't cut down on my drinking, but I drink in the house. I'm not in the streets no more, and it just changed my whole lifestyle. Now the stripper life is just not for me. You know what I mean? The stripper life, it just faded away. I don't want to do it. I've been down to Georgia. I've been to Atlanta. I've been to Magic City. I've been to like some popular strip clubs in my army traveling days, and they just wasn't my vibe no more. It just wasn't my vibe no more. So I'm over that. But what this whole thing was about is that I've spent a lot of time with strippers. I spent 2 years in a semi relationship with a stripper, like I said, almost to the point of marriage. I've talked to a lot of strippers, and like what y'all think about them just is not always the case. Now there's disclaimers for everything. Yeah, there's some hoes in the strip club. Ain't no lie. There's some hoes in this house, but not all of them. And when he asked me, when Ricky said, "Would you bring a stripper home to your mama?" I would. I would, because my mom is not going to judge her. Okay, my mom's not going to judge her, and my mom knows my character. My mom knows that I have a certain character too, and I'm a certain kind of man too, and she knows that I'm not going to be involved in a woman that's going to be what society thinks that she is. So my mom knows, okay, he's bringing her home, that's his girlfriend or whatever, and I got to accept her. And yeah, mom, she does strip, but I can go to my mom and sit down and say, Mom, this is the deal. She's doing this because she don't have money. This is easy money. It's fast money. It's just like when me and my sister were selling drugs. My mom didn't like us selling drugs. Selling drugs was bad, but she understood the fact that we needed this money. We couldn't work. We was accustomed to a certain lifestyle. She understood that part of our childhood when Bobos played into it. Like my mom is very understanding. My mom is very benefit of the doubtish. My mom, you know, she would also tell me, try to get her out of it, Tom. If you love this girl, get her out of that world. Get her out of that lifestyle. It might be dangerous. It might be dangerous for her. It might be dangerous for you. Like, work on leaving. She would definitely tell me that. But that's always the plan, though. If you deal with a stripper, that's always the plan for working on her getting out of there. Giving her money so that she don't have to do it. Figuring out how to get her, maybe go to school. Maybe, you can help her. You can help her, and she will appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's it. That's the end of today's episode. I don't have any shout outs today. I told my cousin that I was going to give her a shout out for her catering business, but I don't want to do it on this episode. This episode is kind of like not the episode to do it on. So when I do my episode on my mother, then I'll put my cousin's catering business on there. But y'all gonna hear about it, and trust me. The food is bomb, okay? It ain't like no catering service where she try to do too much. She cooks what she cooks. She rocks what she rocks, so you're gonna get the fried chicken, you're gonna get the fried fish, you're gonna get the French fries, you're gonna get the rice, you're gonna get the tacos, you're gonna get the cheese steaks, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna get the cordon bleu with the fucking oregano, sprinkle, whatever, the bullshit. Okay, you're gonna get some real shit, you're gonna get some real cooking, you're gonna get some real in-house shit. So that's it. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Remember, it's the Lisper on TikTok, it's the Lisper podcast on YouTube, it's Lisper Livingston on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. I think I will. Oh yeah, I will.